What is going on, Nissan Nation? It's your buddy Dave of the Nissan Nation Productions, and oh man, we are pumped up, guys. Well, as you can hear, let me turn that down. We've got a good one tonight, guys. We've got Luke with Lifestyle Offroad on here. What's up, Luke?
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Oh, you know, I'm hiding in a bunker somewhere, just doing video podcasting.
Hey. Sounds like a good place to be right now, though.
Right? I mean, I guess it could be worse. So Luke, man, we haven't talked in a while. I mean, we of course, if you don't know, me and Luke put on Windrock together, and we had to announce that wasn't going to happen this year to the thing that will not be said, and like, it's just killed our wheeling trips, man.
It's killed a lot of things.
Well, including people, but
yeah,
that's a given, I guess.
Well, and the thing is even like you've got Gone Moab who had to cancel, and I don't know of a much more remote place than you can get to wheeling than Moab, but it's still it's not even safe to get there.
Right, and yeah, like you're saying, that's in the middle of nowhere, and right now it's probably about 120 degrees.
Right.
Well, so once again, like me and Luke, we'll give a little history here. We've known each other for almost 11 years now, something like that. It's been quite a while, and I knew Luke from it was Club Xterra, and probably my first bad impression to Luke was we were all supposed to go wheeling at Windrock Park at the time called Coal Creek, and I forgot that there was a time change, an hour difference time change, and I got up 5 a.m. to get over there. I forget, it was like a 9 a.m. kickoff time we were supposed to do. And I stopped and got gas, got my breakfast, and we're all just having a good time, you know, just lollygagging around to get over there. And I remember you calling me going, "Hey, are you coming?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll be there on time." And you're like, "Well, we're about to leave."
Yeah. I think most of us, especially because we were only coming from Middle Tennessee to
get over there,
basically the Knoxville area, just a 2-hour drive, 2.5-hour drive. We all kind of forgot about the time change.
Yeah.
But there was, I don't know, do you call that the first official Xterra meet? Because there was like 10 of us.
Oh, yeah. Man, there was quite a bit. We had Drake in there. Was it Nathan from South Carolina? I was amazed the distances people came to that thing.
For just a Saturday drive through the woods. And I think we only did we? I think we did 3 trails.
Yeah, we did 22, 27, and 26. It's one of my favorite loops, so, and that's probably why.
Yeah. I think half the day, most of us newbies just spent it in amazement. Like, what is this place? We can do this out here?
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, you know, I've owned Jeeps and stuff, and I know you've had a hard body and stuff, like off-road stuff, but like where you grew up, there's not the hills like there are here in Tennessee. And, you know, my introduction to off-roading was just because it was part of my job. I mean, I never considered that really off-roading, even though I did a lot of, looking back now, I did a lot of rock crawling and stupid stuff to a company vehicle. But yeah, like for me, it was just like, wow, you do this on purpose?
Right. And I don't know, we could talk about Windrock. Well, then it was Coal Creek.
Yep.
Then it was an active coal mine.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I don't know, that's still that's forever probably going to be one of my favorite places to go four-wheeling.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Moab is special, and one day I'll get over to the Rubicon and stuff, but yeah, it's like, and it's not like that was my first time off-roading, but because we right. Once me and you got to know each other, we went to Wooley's Off-Road Park here in Middle Tennessee a lot, and you, after going there, and then you go to a place like Windrock, you're just like, well, that's not exciting anymore.
Yeah, it's like we have ski hills here in the middle of Iowa, and it's just that, it's a hill. but there's a lift and it takes you, 25 seconds to ski or snowboard down it. But it's like comparing that to going out to Colorado and going into the actual mountains and skiing. That's like Woolies and Windrock.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know me and you got to be the point before you moved away from here that we would go to Willie's and it was like a half a day and it was like, well, okay, now what? You know?
When we would, you and I were getting heckled by all the Jeep guys quite a bit too. Like, I wouldn't take that truck down there. I wouldn't do that trail. And you and me would look at each other like, how many times have we done this already?
Yeah. Well, what was funny was, so for those that don't know, like me and pickup truck and SUV talk. Thank you for that super chat, guys. That is going to go nicely in the kitty for a trip that's coming up. But for those that, like me and you got into the Xteras around the same time. And like I said earlier, we on Club Xterra, which was kind of, there was that for the Gen 1s and the new X was for kind of the Gen 2s. And you know, when you get on forums, like younger people now, and I sound like this old man, this old grumpy bear, but like they don't like forums were awesome and you connected to people and you got to know them and learn their personalities, but you never knew their real names and stuff. And
Right.
yeah, so we got to kind of know each other. And then yeah, you start wheeling with these people and you're like, man, this is a good time. And then, you know, Facebook comes along and well, it kills everything.
Right. Yeah, for the longest time, if I sit and think about it, I still probably have a handful of people I only know by their forum screen names. There was one guy, there was the time that I broke my auto hubs when we were like 4 feet into the trail.
Oh yeah, we went up
So
on 22 there, right?
Yeah, the guy that gave me those hubs, I've never known his real name. I don't. If I really think about it, I might be able to come up with his screen name. But that's all we knew most of each other by. And I thought you were a doctor.
I get that a lot still.
And your last name was like Band Khabib or something like that.
For those that don't know, on my forums I usually go by DRBANDKGB, which does look like Dr. Band. I never pieced that together when I did that. Ooh, thank you, Shilno. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm butchered. Thank you for that $20, guys. That is awesome. But yeah, dude, I remember the guys from Indiana coming in and it's like, hey, Dr. B. And you're like, what? I'm like, who's he talking to? And you were what, Xterra 04, right?
Yeah.
But what's funny is like, yeah, so there was a lot of people that we got to know, like, and never know, I guess, you know?
Right. Yeah, you didn't. I don't know. You didn't necessarily, well, like we're saying, you didn't necessarily need to know their name. You didn't need to know what they did for a living. You saw their license plate, so you knew what state they were from, and you were more curious about what kind of truck they were driving. And, oh, did you get a bumper done and skid plates? Do you have a locker?
Well, do you remember? So, and me and, like I said, I've done this for 20 years off-roading, and once again, the first 10, I never realized what I was doing, I guess. But I remember the first time, I think it might have been Drake or a couple of the guys. There was a guy that had an ARB bumper that first trip we went to. And I remember just looking at that thing going, holy cow, this is awesome. And for the bummer for me was we were going through the recession. It was October of 9. So, and come to find out after that trip, about 3 weeks later, I found out I was out of a job, and I'd started mapping out my build, and we seen all these cool bumpers, and just being exposed to it for the first time was so exciting. Did I lose you, Luke?
Well, heck,
oh, there you
even probably after the second or, oh no, I'm still here. Oh, after the second or third trip, when we added shackles and cranked our torsion bars, you would have thought we went from mini trucks.
That's right. Yeah, we went
lifting our trucks up a whole inch and a half.
I remember. So I got laid off, and I was still had some money squirreled away, and I was like, oh, it's only going to be for a couple months. Like I can hang with this, and so I went ahead and bought rear lift shackles, and you just crank the torsion bars on the front of those things. And that December, me and you decided, well, we're lifting our trucks. You're right, man. I remember us backing out, just being in amazement, like, look how tall it is. But anyways, so guys, right now I will tell you this: my internet has been very, very spotty.
I mean,
go ahead, Luke. Ding, 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 ding.
oh no, you're fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. But
Explain
yes.
your situation.
Okay. So, but yeah, I remember we did it in my parents' garage, and we backed those Xteras out, and we were just both like, "Oh my god!" And we did yours first, and once I seen yours, I was like, "Holy cow!" And it was only 1.5 inches, so it wasn't like we're suddenly monster trucks. But when when you see the excitement of, like, I had never lifted a vehicle before that. I had no reason to, man. I bought my Xterra, which me and Kelly are going to do a whole video on this of how we all got into this. But, I bought it just because I knew we'd went through a tornado, and it was about the only thing I could find. And I knew, just through what I do for a living, I needed a 4-wheel drive, and I wanted to always have 4-wheel drive in my fleet. So that's the only reason I bought, like, the Xterra being a 4-wheel drive, or else I could have been a 2-wheel drive guy like everybody else that wanted to off-road and never could do much. But anyways, so yeah, Luke, you bought yours in Chicago, if I remember right? Or did I lose Luke? Anyways, to add to the story, I know Luke bought his in Chicago. Sorry.
Yep.
Luke is like multitasking now.
I had a.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I do hear you now.
Am I on?
You are on.
Can you hear me?
Yep. I got you, Luke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did buy it in Chicago, and
there we go. I think we're broadcasting again. All right. So if you guys can get, show me some love there. If you can.
I can see Dave moving again.
Can you hear me, Luke? And Joe Taylor's like, now it works. There we go. Anyways, so we did your lift, the body lift in that thing, and then you sassed it, and I was like, damn it, Luke. Like, I was taking my time. I was going to do my own style sass to this thing, and at the end of the day, I was like, I'm just going to buy a Cal Mini
Dave,
kit.
can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't even show you as talking.
Hold on here. Let's do it this way. We're going old school here.
Hey.
There. How about now? Can you hear me now, Luke?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so you are somewhat broadcasting. We're back.
Oh.
I'll do it old school way here.
Oh, okay.
So I was saying that you sassed yours, like I started sassing mine, and then all of a sudden you're done with yours, and I was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, on the forums, there was a lot of people that got a lot of praise for, like, showing every step of their build. But then there was always a few people that were kind of sneaky about it. Like, all of a sudden, this guy bought this truck, and then it's like 4 pictures later, it had all this stuff done to it. And for whatever reason, I thought that approach would be more fun.
Right.
And the other part of that, too, is I didn't necessarily want critiques from every other person on what I was doing, because that seemed to, if I have an idea in my head, I'm going to do it no matter what other people think most of the time.
Right.
But it was, oh man, I don't even remember if it was Wint yet or NXM. I think it was the first or second year of Wint. I just broke everything in the front end of my poor truck.
Oh, is that when Jenna was driving up a hill and all of a sudden, you broke?
Yeah.
The
heavy duty tie rods or whatever busted, just sheared off, and I ended up having to walk beside her kicking the tires so we could get off the trail. A ball joint broke on another trail, the axle broke, and I just was, and the gas tank crumpled in.
Oh God, I do remember that now. Yeah,
because we drove home, we drove the 800 miles home, but we had to fill up with gas every 100 miles. So it was just like, okay,
wow.
she enjoys four-wheeling. I enjoy four-wheeling. We're both finally on the same page. Like, okay, if you're gonna sink money into this, let's do it and do it right. So I found an axle like 45 minutes from my house, and I don't think I told anybody. I just had this axle sitting there and refurbished, rebuilt the axle, and pretty much in a weekend just threw it on a solid axle and called it a day.
Yeah, cause me and you've been pretty close friends, man. And I remember you're just like, hey, I'm swapping this weekend. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. And man, I've never been so nervous as to when I pulled that out of my garage.
Yes, I will say that was for me with the Cal Mini kit. I was still nervous, and it was like, this is a tried and true kit that there's hundreds of them floating around.
Right. Because what I had to do was, now I'm trying to think. It's been a lot longer than I think it has. I had to drive it to a buddy's shop so we could jack up the transmission and make a cross member for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you did your own kit. Like, you kind of,
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't like you designed everything, but you kind of went off a few people's things and did your own take on it.
Yeah. Because there's been several people that have leaf sprung. Like NissanNut.com is an awesome website for people. That guy's built so many trucks.
Right.
And he gives a lot of information, but he obviously can't hold your hand the whole way.
Right.
So I pieced everything together, and then I knew I could build some things. So for that, I had to drive to a buddy's shop so we could put it up on a lift and hold the transmission up while we designed and built our own cross member.
Right.
But the only way to get there is to drive 15 miles down the interstate. And I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting. I've driven it 2 miles down a backcountry highway, and now I'm going 70 down the road hoping that nothing falls off.
And there's nothing like when you do your own welding. Like me and you can weld, but I wouldn't call us like professionals by any means. And I generally trust my stuff, but when you realize there's an axle in the front of the vehicle that is holding your weld is holding it all together, it's a little different.
Right. Yeah, like when I brake too hard, is it just going to fall off and my back tire is going to run it over, or am I going to turn and everything hold together?
Well, it wasn't long after that you were at Windrock with us, right?
Yeah, it was maybe 2 months. My first wheeling trip was driving it from Iowa to Tennessee and figuring it out down there.
Yeah.
And everything worked pretty good. I think the first or second day you were saying you'd pointed out that the shock towers I had weren't really working.
Yeah, you could see them flexing.
What's that?
You could see him flexing a little bit the way that you had it done. I do remember that, yeah.
Like I figured some things out, and realistically, the truck's been through 3 or 4 revisions of the axle swap now, but yeah, it's a heck of a learning experience.
Right. Well, after doing it, would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, just for the type of off-roading and stuff you like doing?
Yeah. I don't know. On all these off-road pages now, you see everybody debating IFS and solid axle because of the Bronco going after a Jeep.
Yeah.
But for our application, being torsion bars, the solid axle is just held up so much better. The torsion bars probably rode on the street a little bit nicer, but like when I've gone to Moab, I've broke in the middle of the desert, and you can run to O'Reilly's in town and get every part for that Jeep axle at O'Reilly's. They just have it. They literally have them hanging on the wall. Even ball joints and brake pads, it's been a lot simpler and really more cost effective to maintain.
Right.
I would do it again. I would do it to the way I have it set up now. I mean, now I have the steering flipped a different way. I ended up going back and pushing the axle forward more. There's certain things I wish I would have done different the first time, but like I said, it's a learning experience.
We've got a good question, and you might be able to help with this, and we'll get into a little bit of what lifestyle is here in just a second. So, Chanel, however we pronounce it, he says he's looking to get a lift kit, probably the Gone Moab kit. I'm assuming that's what Niztec sells. But he's looking to switch his 2012 Pro 4X M205 axle up front, but he wants to use the Pathfinder V8 CVs. Should that kit still work? Now, to do the Pathfinder, if I recall right, it's the control arms and stuff are different, right? Aren't the CVs a little different? Oh,
so basically, if you do the Pathfinder swap, so that kit should work because I've installed that kit before, and really all you're doing is putting an M205 with the same width axle shafts in there. So that would actually be a super strong combination without making your truck super wide.
Right. So you don't get the full 3 inches or whatever it is, right?
No. You can, but to get the full lift out of that, I think Niztec. I would tell him to call Niztec for sure.
Right.
Because I think to get 3 inches, what we did was cranked the MK84s up to 2, and then we put a top plate on to get it. I think it was a 1-inch top plate. So we got it ended up being 3.5 inches of lift. But the thing rides super nice.
I know the only problem that with the Pathfinder V8 CVs is finding them. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't make many of those.
Yeah, they seem to kind of come and go, and it seems like there's a fair amount of people that have issues, even trying to buy new replacements. Like they just aren't a thing.
I know,
and they kind of come in waves.
I was gonna say, I know it's probably like for Nissan a lot like the automatic hubs were for the Gen 1 Xteras. Like at some point they just quit making things, and they never sold a ton of the V8 Pathfinders to begin with.
Oh no, they never did. Which, then again, you and I could complain about this all day. That all boils back to marketing.
Yes. Well, that's a great thing. That's a heated debate no matter when I ask that question. But so Luke, you went to school for graphic design, if I remember right, and through all of your dealings within the Nissan world, you just started making stickers, and I think people seen them and was like, well, that's cool. And then all of a sudden, the next thing I know, you're like, I'm going to start a company, Lifestyle Offroad, and I'm just going to start that way and start doing vinyl stuff, right?
Yeah, I have it's actually called a commercial design degree, which is something that no longer exists. So I'm not relevant now, I guess. But my first job out of college was working at a sign shop, learning how to design decals, wraps, whatever. And I didn't really like it. I didn't really like designing real estate signs all day and whatever. It's obviously a skill I've acquired. Long story short, I got away from it and got into the IT field a long time ago, and I've always liked designing things if I can control what I'm doing. So, in other words, if it's for things that I like, so trucks, cars, whatever, sports. So when I moved down to Tennessee, I actually went back and did graphic design for a little while, remembered that I hated it, quit, but then was working at an automotive shop that had a vinyl plotter. And if I brought in my own material, they didn't care if I used the machine. And I don't remember. It wasn't Xterra Nation stickers. It was something for you and me. It was
Xterra, wasn't it?
Yeah, I started making those stickers, and that led to somebody saying, "Well, can you make them for my club?" And oh, sure. And then it just kind of kept ramping up. And the cool thing about Lifestyle Offroad is I have never put a ton of effort into advertising. My business is 95% word of mouth, which I will forever be grateful for. But it's just crazy how if I do something somebody likes, how much they are just willing to spread that around.
Right. And I remember too, like at the time with Club Xterra, there was a company called Graveyard Graphics. And for whatever reason, like when MySpace was kind of dying and Facebook took over and then they added groups and pages, like he would never switch to Facebook. He just had some weird thing where like he was not going to do it. And it ended up, I think, benefiting you, his stubbornness, because instantly, like, I think he still does something on those forums, but like nobody's on those forums anymore. Like it's all social media through Facebook and Instagram and stuff.
Right. And I think he owns more of like a full-fledged sign shop, whereas I do not have a storefront. I literally just have my garage and then I don't know, maybe like a 14 by 14 shop in my basement.
Right.
I have two companies that I work very closely with that I think allow me to expand what I can do. So I can do anything from a die cut decal that costs you a whole $5 to a several $1,000 wrap, or I can print you 300 t-shirts and hats and whatever.
Right. Because you're doing all of Wentz stuff, and generally anything I do, you're the guy I go to for all that like any shirts, the hats that we just speaking of which, guys, I still have a few hats left. They haven't completely sold out yet. So if you want a hat, go to NissanNationProductions.com. And you know that Luke's touched those hats, so.
No, I do. I do a lot. I do all the off-road gorilla decals. I do the Niztec stuff. I do Gone Moab, Wint. Being a part of the Nissan community has they've reciprocated, and it's kind of funny because I'll see on pages where people tag a company that makes like a simple flag sticker, and then it's like I have all these people that are friends or just been good customers. They're like, "Oh, you should buy from Lifestyle Offroad instead."
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
buy from that guy.
I am amazed how many people will, like, people that we don't even know, like, which is great. Like you were saying, word of mouth. They will go right to you for that stuff.
Yeah, and it's pretty awesome. And it's kind of crazy because I was just having this conversation the other day. I'm to the point, I've always had a website, but it was never great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe it's been 2 years now. Now I have a website, just lifestyleoffroad.com, where you can go and actually buy stuff. Just click it. You don't have to send me a message and purchase your decal, shirt, whatever.
Right. Flytrap, thank you for that $10, buddy. Thank you, sir.
Now I get orders, and I'm still amazed every day when I get an order and I have no idea who the person is. I'm like, well, how'd you find me? Where'd you find my website? How'd you see this sticker?
Right.
But it's really cool too.
Well, and you know, the cool thing for your company, it coincided with like us doing the National Xterra meet, and then that kind of going from a couple, you know, a few trucks into what it's turned into now. It's allowed you to kind of learn as you go. You know, you like, obviously one-offs are pretty easy for you to do, but when you've got to do 100 of the same sticker and there's a lot of weaving and stuff and it's tedious. So I think stuff like that has really helped as well.
Yeah, definitely. And really being at the ground floor of the Xterra meet and then Wind, just seeing what we needed to run an event and seeing how it can be so helpful to be able to go to one place to get multiple things done, that has helped kind of shape what I do also.
Right.
So instead of me just doing the stickers and then Wint has to find somebody that can do banners and somebody that can do the shirts and patches, whatever. I don't do patches. That was a bad example.
But we know people that do patches, though.
Right. I've worked with the Nissan patch company a few times. But it's helped point out that there is a void in marketing and marketing products where there's not a lot of companies that can offer multiple services.
Right. Well, I think some of the aftermarket companies, you know, like Nissan is obviously right now, like Xterra's gone, Frontier's really kind of their only off-road option. I know Titan has, you know, a nice off-road package, but like we're such a small community that a lot of the bigger community, there's not enough money in it for them to want to do it, which is great for you, right?
Right. Yeah, it definitely is. And I'm by no means sitting back and getting rich off of this. I mean, I still work a full-time job. But it's definitely, there's an empty hole in this market. Even for just simple things. And it's things that companies overlook for whatever reason. Like, I sell a bunch of the color change 4s for the Frontier Pro 4X logos.
Mm-hmm.
And it took some guesswork and a lot of measuring to make a decal that fit that truck. But I'm the only one that makes them. I'm glad I'm the only one that makes them.
Well, till now. Then somebody's like, "Oh, I've got a. What's those? What's all the mommy vinyl cutters? What's that thing called?
The cry cut.
Yeah, it's like suddenly now everybody's they're going to start their own business.
Well, and that's what cracks me up is I'll see all the time on Facebook, like, I got a cry cut from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to start making stickers. Well, those things can only take like a small sheet of vinyl at a time,
mm-hmm.
where I'm using like 2 foot wide by 150 foot long or 100 foot long rolls of vinyl. Like, you can do stuff, but I can do big stuff. And if need to, we can cut stickers up to 60 inches tall and
right
200 feet long if you need them done.
And generally, there's a big quality difference I've noticed too.
Oh, definitely.
Well, so all of this has led into more like you expanding your business a little bit, and you've through, I think, Wint and just our kind of being in the community and just kind of being a voice for the community. Like, people have come up to us, and we got to meet a guy named Nestor, and with Shadow Wolf. And Shadow Wolf a few years ago was just an idea. He was like, he's an engineer. He was like, I can do kits and stuff for these trucks way faster and cheaper than anybody else can. And through that, you were like, hey, I'm wanting to expand my business, and so you're starting to get into lift kits a little bit, right?
Yeah. Well, kind of, and even kind of going back to earlier conversation about the solid axle stuff. When I did that, I didn't post on the forums what I was doing, but I kept a list of my parts. And so on a couple of the Facebook pages, there is a list that is sticky to the top of the page, and it's basically what I did for my solid axle. And so I've created more or less a spreadsheet to do the swap.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a fair amount of knowledge when it comes to how to solid axle swap a first gen, and I've become a little bit of a go-to person. I can't answer all the super technical stuff, and especially can't answer everything when I'm not there in person, but I'm fairly knowledgeable, and I can at least get you what you need to get started. So I've been kind of known as as the solid axle person a little bit.
Right.
And so when he started talking about making those for second gens, I'm like you're saying, I want my business to expand. I'd love nothing more than to do it full time, and became good buddies with Nestor, and we talk. I don't know, a couple times a week on the phone about different things.
Which they're killing me this weekend, by the way. They're at Windrock testing some new stuff.
Right. And I just told him, like, I want dibs on selling your product. And we trust each other. He's one of the only other people that have actually let just work on my truck. But we'd be up at Wind drinking all night. He'd be up at 6:30 in the morning fixing a small, tiny oil leak somewhere or whatever.
Yeah, Nestor would be looking for some problem to go work on.
Right. So he got a kit put together, got it tested on Joel's truck, and then I started hounding him more or less, like, okay, when can we sell it? When can we sell it?
You and a few other companies, I know.
Yeah. So he really just, I think it's actually only been on my website for about 10 or 15 days.
Right, which is why I wanted to get you on here tonight, by the way, because I know it's new and people need to know about it a little bit. I know when I did I did the video a couple months ago where we went and did some final testing on a Frontier. Like, people are excited by that, man. They really are. Now the price I know is a little, it's a little pricey for that. But if you want to make your Nissan the ultimate rig, man, I think it's well worth it.
Right. Well, and I've talked to JR, who has the first Frontier with the kit, and the guy bought a brand new Dodge Ram to be able to tow his Frontier, and he can't stop driving the Frontier on the road. He's like, it handles great, and it's so much fun to drive now. I don't know how many miles he even put on this Ram that he bought.
I was going to say, I know he bought it to tow the thing with, and then, now he's just driving it all the time.
Yep. But I saw it as an opportunity. I needed to get his product on my page. There was a void in the market for the transfer case adapters, and so you can adapt them from Nissan to like a more common front drive shaft.
Right.
I've used, and you also use the Dodge Ram drive shafts because they're $60 at any junkyard and they're easy enough to shorten.
Yeah.
So I gave him a transfer case I had laying around, and he was able to make an adapter for that. That's now on my website. We have a brake master cylinder upgrade coming out for second gens. Really, all we're waiting on is he has to send me some pictures so I can list it on my website.
Right. And that's for Frontier or Xterra, right?
Yep, Frontier, Xterra, or Pathfinder.
Okay. Well, so as it stands now, you're really trying to expand you want to kind of get into the actual lifts and stuff a little more, because I know you've done some installs for your company, and but if you could ever have a storefront, that sounds like where the bee's knees there, right?
Yeah, definitely. And part of my problem there is I don't know if Des Moines, Iowa has the market for it. But ideally, if I can get enough stuff like this, and my whole thing is I want to stay unique. I want to carry products that are either my own brand or smaller companies like Shadow Wolf, where we're offering a really good but yet unique product. You won't see me carrying a bunch of like Smitty built parts. Right. There's nothing wrong with that, but
they're a dime a dozen, and every guy that wants to be an off-road dealer has it.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the direction I'd like to go, is be able to ramp things up enough that someday I'm sitting here on a pile of money. I'm like, I need to open a shop.
Right. Well, so is there plans maybe to expand to different brands down the road?
Oh, definitely. Different brands, eventually different makes and models.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have been tried and true Nissan for forever, but for staying in the truck market,
Yeah, they're making it
we
very
still,
difficult right
they're
now.
making it hard.
Yeah, and Luke, did you obviously you seen the picture that I had way before anybody else got to see it? Like we talked about it privately and stuff. Did you see where Car or whatever took that picture and then they kind of reimagined it a little bit? Have you seen that this week?
Yeah.
What do you think of the potential of the next frontier, man? So you've been a Nissan guy for a long time. You've worked on all these generations of vehicles. Where do you think Nissan is going, or where should they be going?
I would really hope they would take a cue from the Bronco release, just to see the excitement over an enthusiast vehicle. Because Nissan's had all these staples. They've had the Xterra, they've had the 240, they've had the 300, the GTR, the Patrol. All of these vehicles have a following. And you know that I am a fan of Ford. Mm-hmm. I went and bought a Flex a while ago.
I warned you not to do that.
Yeah. And it proved to not be the most reliable vehicle.
It was a lot of fun, though, wasn't it? I know this is a Nissan show, but that is a fun car.
Oh, yeah.
SUV.
I learned a lot because it taught me all about turbos, and I tuned it and whatever. But when it came time for me to get a reliable vehicle that I just didn't even have to think about, mm-hmm. I'm going to go buy a Nissan. And I went and bought a Rogue. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing spectacular, but when I drive any Nissan I've owned, and I've owned several, they've always been just plain good vehicles. But anymore, that's just not enough. I mean, it's great to be able to own something that you don't have to worry about. You can get back and forth to work and go on vacation, but the fun factor is just not there. And it's like they're just being safe, and they're not willing to take any sort of chances.
Hold on, Luke. So I text Kelly, everybody, and I said, I need whiskey. So she brings this one. She brings this one. She brings this one.
That's because technically these two are bourbon.
Well, you know what I mean, though.
No, but technically those two are bourbon. This one's whiskey, so that's why you got those.
Okay, I will give you that. Thank you, ma'am. They were worried that I was out of whiskey.
I expect my tip later.
Oh yes, she says super chats are for more whiskey. But anyways, so guys, right now, this is gonna be Blender's Nation here. Right now, I am enjoying a Bullet Bourbon Frontier whiskey. So this is one of my favorites right now, guys. So anyway, sorry, Luke. So where were we exactly? I had to get more whiskey here. Let's see. Oh, Aaron Power says we need more Miller Lite. Kelly the servant. Yes, Kelly keeps me plenty whiskeyed up. So does the idea, so Nissan with the Frontier, obviously you know what the Pro 4X package can do. What do you expect out of the next Pro 4X package?
I think for them to be competitive, we've seen Chevy come out with a truck with front and rear lockers. Toyota, you can go buy a truck with a snorkel. I don't think you can get a front locker in the TRD Pros. Jeep, obviously, you can get front and rear lockers. Bronco now. Nissan is going to just, even if they don't offer something quite that good off the lot, mm-hmm. Nismo or some sort of close affiliate needs to offer products so that you can go to a lot and buy one of these things that is truly going to be off-road ready.
Well, so put a pin on that just a second. So me and you have been watching the Bronco pretty, because I'm starting, and if you haven't yet, guys, come on, All Terrain Nation. I need like 60 more subs. But we've been following that Bronco a little bit because it does, as being Xterra guys, the idea of an IFS, kind of something that takes on Jeep, that is intriguing to me and you. So really, like, Nissan doesn't play in that ballpark right now, and so for the Frontier, it can't. I think Ford just set the benchmark for anything off-road, and now I know you take a four-wheel drive pickup truck. It's not a four-wheel drive SUV like a little two-door or the four-door Bronco, but between that and, like you were saying with Chevy with the ZR2 package, like, they can't just dip their toes in this market anymore, right?
Right. And we've seen, I am not a Chevy person at all.
Wait, you have a Chevy, right?
And that is a badass little truck.
What, the Bronco? Yeah.
Even on 31s, I think is all it has on it. That thing goes anywhere, and they get it. Ford gets it. Toyota gets it. Jeep gets it. There's a market there. Mm-hmm. Why they are not trying to go after that, I will never know.
Well, so me and you we got into this just right before the whole Overland thing kicked in. So obviously it's taken all these companies almost 7-8 years to kind of embrace that, right? Like they've all, it wasn't until Toyota started with their TRD really, like, kind of, and then you could get it with the snorkel and stuff, and of course Toyota has this, I don't know what it is, this myth about quality, because they have a lot of issues as well. Like, all the little overlanders wanted to jump on that, and in the middle of this, Nissan sort of quit making the Xterra. Now granted, I've said this many times, the Xterra just would not pass crash testing anymore. And that's why it died. It wasn't, Nissan at the time said, well, we just couldn't make the fuel economy work with it, which is the same thing as the Frontier, which always cracks me up. But Nissan now has a chance, with Ford and Bronco, they did a Bronco Sport specifically aimed at the Overlanders. Now, granted, I don't think the Bronco Sport, I wouldn't want to use that as an off-road vehicle. I think it's all show and no go, in my opinion. But Nissan, in my opinion, needs to take on that, right?
Oh, definitely. Well, and even like you were saying, that Bronco Sport, they advertise it as like 23 inches of water fording, and that to me is like the true Overlander vehicle. Mm-hmm. Because it'll get you where you need to go. It's got a roof rack to throw all your stuff on it. It even had like a gimmicky little table thing that popped out. Nissan has platforms they could do that to.
Right.
I mean, realistically, you could probably do that with a Pathfinder. You could probably throw a couple things on it. They kind of tried with that Rock Creek or whatever. It's like they kind of
they always dip
something.
They dip their toes in. Like, and it's like, oh, the water's not warm enough for us just yet. And by the end of the day, like, they're going to miss the Overland thing, because eventually this fun trend dies. And by the time it dies is when Nissan goes, okay, we're going to make something for that.
Right. And it's, I don't know. It'll forever baffle me. I feel like we've been fortunate enough to talk to enough people that are high up in Nissan, and we express things like this. I mean, you and me are the reason that Pro 4X Frontiers started coming without mud flaps and running boards. They listen.
Right. I'll never forget, like, telling them about that. Oh, we got to order. I think somebody just ordered a hat, Luke. So fire up the presses.
All right.
But so let's see. Civil Warrior asks, he's got a question for you, Luke. He says, here is my question to Luke. With competition at hand, why won't Nissan pull the trigger on the Warrior? Does it not pass testing? I'll let you go, and then I'll wrap up with that one.
I don't have a lot for that one. You're the one that's talking to Z1 where that thing is.
Right.
I think they're just afraid.
Well,
more
I
than
will
anything.
I will say this, to build that vehicle it does require some investment. It's not What's up, Frank B? It's not like it's, their stamping is expensive. And I've said this many times, to make a new model is $1 billion investment. Now, do you want to take that $1 billion investment and the Titans never sold well? And now do you want to add, let's say, another couple $100 million at stamping to make that? I mean, Nissan said at one point they needed to sell 100,000 Titans a year to consider the Warrior. Now, I am of the mindset that you have a halo truck like the Warrior, which people can't reach, they can't grasp it, but guess what? They can pluck the Pro 4X. Like they can get something. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it would be an investment, but at the same time, I think that someday they need to figure out. They need to just take a damn chance.
Yes. Yes, and what you were alluding to earlier, like they've had such a history. Like Nissan, more than any other brand, knows enthusiasts. I will say, like for Toyota, yeah, they had a Supra, sort of an MR2, and the truck at the time wasn't. It was just a boring truck. Nissan at the same mid '90s points come out with a kick-ass hardbody that you could get in a Desert Runner form from the factory with the roll cage and stuff. They had. The 200 SX turns, to a 240 SX, which turns to a 300 ZX, which granted the ZX was overpriced, but like they had a ton of enthusiast cars. The Maxima, the mid 90s Maxima is still a good enthusiast car. And like they have all this heritage with that. And when Renault kind of saved them, or did they really save them? They killed everything exciting about Nissan, and then we get a Z that, the 350Z, I like it, but even at the time, I don't know that it excited people to the ends it needed to. They're late to the party with the 370Z on updating the thing, and now that thing hasn't been updated in 10 years. And it's just like they sort of take for granted the enthusiast, which guess what? The enthusiast is just like the Halo vehicles. Like maybe they can't reach for that platinum Maxima, but they go for the Platinum Ultima, or they just seem to take for granted the market.
And I agree. And I think the bigger thing that they're missing out on is how I was talking about my business earlier and how I've had successes from word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The enthusiasts are the ones that go out and tell you to buy the brand. Yes. They are the ones that have a 370Z or an Xterra, Pathfinder, whatever. They're the ones that love their vehicle, and when they go to work and that thing in the parking lot catches a coworker's eye, they're going to talk their ear off. This is why you buy a Nissan. You buy it because this, and this.
Right.
Well, nobody's doing that about their Altima.
Yes.
They're not going to work and being like, oh, that's a sweet 18 Ultima you got out there. Oh, CVT? Yeah. I think I need one. Like, there's just, even my Rogue, it's a great vehicle. I get great gas mileage, but I don't have much to say about it. It's a commuter car.
Yes.
I don't know. They're missing the mark. They're missing a chance to grow the brand even more. They're missing a big market. It might be a little market, but it's a big market at the same time.
Right. I think their mindset was volume, not exciting cars, and there is a balance to that. There needs to be, and I think that was part of the problem in the 90s was they were too excited about not enthusiasts, but making exciting cars, and forgot that you need volume to keep the company afloat, and there's a balance. And how they went from the 90s of a weird balance to now that's the opposite. There were more about rental fleets and everything. And, like you were saying about your Rogue, great vehicle. The CVT transmission does not lend itself to any kind of exciting driving. Now, and that's not the point of that thing. The point of that thing is miles per gallon. But they just seem to kind of, in my opinion, lose it. Now, look at what Ford did with the Bronco. They've not spent $1 really advertising this thing. They did that video, the introduction to it, which I'm a Nissan dude, and it gave me goosebumps.
Right.
And that's all the advertising they did. And I guarantee you they've sold 50, 60,000 of those just based on that right now. Now, Nissan, who gets crapped on for not, advertising enough, which they do advertise. The problem with Nissan is they are advertising boring products that don't stick in your head. If they were to do, and I've talked about this, Luke, and I don't know if you've watched any of the videos, but something like the Terra, if they were to bring that back to the United States, now, once again, guys, it cannot be called the Xterra anymore. They lost the rights to that name. But you bring a Terra back to its heritage of everything you need, nothing you don't. But since Ford is bringing out something with front rear lockers, they damn sure better do something like that, and that's it. Make it plain. Like, I think if you kept that thing under $30,000 with front rear lockers, I don't think they could keep up with how many they would sell.
Right. Yeah, that'd be a market. I mean, that thing would be a hit, especially when you have all these Bronco people that probably can't afford them.
Right.
Looking for something. What else is out there that I can go fix?
Exactly.
Or go get my off-road fix with.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing other than the Frontier, because I loved my Pro 4X Titan, but I was never going to take that thing off-road because it just, for the style of off-roading we do, it just doesn't lend itself to that. So for Nissan, if you're a Nissan fanboy, like, you're basically down to the Frontier. So which leads me back to they need something. This Frontier has to be something, man. It has to. You see, like I said, you've seen the picture of that Nismo, which is exciting. And to me, it's very exciting that they may do something like that. And like Flytrap here, thank you once again, Flytrap. Like I've said, the Terra, they could build that off of the current Frontier platform with that 3.8 liter, 310 horsepower motor. The torque needs to be up to in the 300 range anymore. I'm sorry, like 281 is getting, like, a 4-cylinder Bronco is going to outdo that thing.
Right.
They better get it in gear, or else they're going to be just, this is what's going to kill the brand, in my opinion. Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Well, Luke, I know you've been more than, thank you for all the time you've given us, and I know you're kind of in the middle of something right now.
Yeah.
I know a couple people have asked, how do they get a hold of you? They might want something done. Is Lifestyle Offroad kind of the best.com, the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm on pretty much everything but Snapchat. I don't understand that one.
Oh, I know you're big on what's the Chinese app?
TikTok.
TikTok. You're huge on TikTok.
It's a good time suck. I'm just Lifestyle Space Offroad on Facebook, Lifestyle_Offroad on Instagram. It's some variation of that on TikTok. Right. And then just Lifestyle Space Offroad on YouTube also.
Well, guys, once again, I will throw whatever credibility I have at Lifestyle Offroad. Like, me and Luke are personal friends, but like, you've always been quick with anything that I've need shipping, and I assume that you're that way with everybody. I have no reason to believe you wouldn't be. And no, Dave does not need TikTok at all. Dave, I can't keep up with the social media apps I have now. But once again, guys, go to Lifestyle Offroad. I was on your website today checking it out. It's nice. You've wrapped Lamborghinis, man.
Yep. I don't get full credit for that one. I just helped actually wrap it. I didn't design it.
Right, but still, like, you're dealing with a $250,000 car, man.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun.
Well,
and
you
it's
did.
funny because you get nervous because you're like, this thing's expensive, and then after 10 hours of putting vinyl on this car, you're just like, it's just another car.
Oh, Silver Warrior, like, hey, Monster, check out Nissan Nation. Guys, can you believe it? I do not have a Monster in front of me tonight. It's a little scary. But, Luke, I appreciate your time, man. And once again, guys, go over to Lifestyle Offroad. Check them out. Go like their social media. And what I haven't said yet is Luke is kicking off his YouTube channel. What is the Lifestyle YouTube channel?
It's just Lifestyle Offroad, two
Okay.
words.
Okay. And
That's it.
like everybody, Luke needs subs on that, and you do
Yeah.
some unique content over there. I was watching you fly your drone over your vehicle as you're going through these marshlands. It was really cool, man.
Yeah, thanks.
And hopefully Luke didn't run his drone into a house.
No, I'm past that page. That stage.
Well, guys, go check it out. And Luke, thank you for being on here. And I've got to deal with some questions here, man.
All right. Well, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys. All right, so that was Luke with Lifestyle Offroad, and I apologize for all the technical issues I've had, and I will call Xfinity and rip their behind a good one over the technical difficulties. Yeah, look, Minnie, I can't believe Flytrap. I can't believe that you didn't notice that the previous weeks. That one's been up for about 3 weeks, and I'm about to put a new one up, so to get you guys excited about this. Guys, I do appreciate the super chats and stuff. They, once again, we're such a small channel that stuff is just literally goes into a bank account to when COVID is done, that we can, me and Danny can go to your vehicle. And I bet Silver Warrior would let me come to his vehicle, and would you let me drive it though? Because that's part of our unique builds is me and Danny get to drive the vehicle and give our impressions of it. So, but let's see. There was a couple questions, and if we haven't got to your questions just yet, go ahead and repost those, and I will get to them best I can. I remember somebody was asking about when the Pathfinder. Let me see if I can scroll up here real quick and see who that was. And speaking of that, hold on. Oh, this is such a professional show. All right. Somebody was asking about the hats. Here is the hat. You can see it's your typical hat. It will fit any head, I promise you. And I only have a few of these left, so if you guys want them, I only do this color this year, and then I do a new color next year. So we kind of limit colors on those. And me and Luke and Danny have been going back and forth about some shirts and some fun stuff. If you're a golfer, we definitely can get you a golf shirt. So just hit me up that way if you guys are curious about that. Let's see. Oh, there we are. Frank B. Any new Pathfinder news discussed tonight that you may have missed? Frank, if you were still on here, let's see. I dropped a video this past week that I took a lot of crap about. And like, I don't even think I really looked at my title that I called this. And yes, at some point we have to be slightly clickbait because you guys are going to watch the videos, and I do appreciate that. But at some point you have to ask the question for new people to go, I need to click on that and see what he says. So I will get to Nissan was in Moab the past week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks by now. And a polo, yes, I can do polos. They were testing. It was all badged up, all hidden, all camouflaged up, but they were testing the Pathfinder in Moab, and they had a nice Titan kind of following around. And it leads me to believe that they are, like we just discussed, will they ever go all in on something? Who knows? But they were testing the Pathfinder in its current form in Moab for off-roading. Now, I've said this for about a year now, maybe a little less than a year, that the Pathfinder is staying on its current platform, but we've reported for quite a while now that it will be getting a real transmission. They are putting the 9-speed transmission in that. The motor I've yet to get any kind of confirmation on, and Nissan, you can ask them all day long, and they don't talk about any products till they drop them. But my inside information has not told me anything about the motor just yet. So it leads me to believe right now they would put the 3.8 in it. But I've discussed in the past that I could see them doing the variable compression 4-cylinder. It all depends. Like that's just that a lot of that's just speculation. But I was told by a quality source that the 9-speed will be in it, which is quite funny because I've seen so many for our channel here, guys. That only have right now we have like 2,700 subs, something like that. I've seen me not given the credit, but quoted so many times by calling, I forget what they call me, that reports what I say. It's getting to be hilarious. And like I said about that car scoops or whatever it's called, it's very obvious that they've taken my picture and did a Photoshop on it, which is amazing. But if you look at the mirrors on my truck, the mirrors on their truck, they're exactly the same. There's nothing about that looks like that badged up Frontier that I talked about a couple weeks ago. Let's see. Frank B says, good info on the Pathfinder. Here's a random question that popped into my head. What would everybody here give for a hard body in good shape with low miles? Hard body, the market on hard bodies right now is actually starting to go up. Depending, they don't need to have any rust, but I'm seeing hard bodies $5-6 grand, which you're talking about a 25-year-old, almost 30-year-old truck. And if I could ever find, and I'm where they built the hard bodies, and I've seen so many just beat up on somebody's yard, and if I could ever find a clean one, I definitely would own one. My sister had a 90 hard body and my brother had an 89 S10, and that hard body you could just drive that vehicle and tell the quality difference from that old S10. It was so night and day. Let's see. Joe Taylor says 4K on that. I wouldn't disagree with that. Depending on color, they did some weird colors on the later hard bodies. There were some purples, and back when they took more chances. Let's see. Fly, dude, I always mess your name up. I don't know why I call you Flytrap, but you'd give your left nut. There'd be a lot of people would do that. Let's see. Chazbanger 4x4 with a 2.4 in my area is going for $6K right now. I can definitely see that. And what's cool about those? Like when I worked for Nissan, there was engineering who I would talk to every so often. They want to build that truck again, but they cannot get the framing on that truck to pass current crash standards. So framing is a big chunk of the cost of developing these things, which is why the next Frontier is going to be on the current framing with a couple new braces. And speaking of that, the whiskey's flowing nice tonight, guys. So cheers. I seen somebody report that the next Frontier, it's going to be on the Mercedes platform, this and that. And let's get this out here right now. The Navara was built for a certain market. Mercedes decided they wanted to test the waters and get into mid-sized pickup trucks. Nissan had something. They partnered up. Mercedes and Nissan has a lot of deals. Like I know Deckard still makes some stuff for Mercedes. I think that the Mercedes look of that truck is amazing. Mercedes took the Navara. They tuned it slightly as far as suspension. And that was the extent of Mercedes, and Nissan still built that for them. I've seen reports come out this week where people are like, the next Frontier is gonna be, Mercedes suspension under it and all this, that, and it's like, guys, no. They definitely will take some stuff from the framing, but it's not a Mercedes. It's not a Mercedes tuned suspension going to be under this next Frontier. Let's see. Dave, it is pronounced Flytrap, so I have been saying it right. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Civil Warrior, you can drive it to show truck, not off-road. Y'all could drive it to show truck, not off-road. Oh, no, I would never want to off-road somebody's vehicle like that. No, the thing with our unique builds, and you've seen Danny do a couple of them, is we literally, car, truck, I don't care what you have that's Nissan related. I want to take something you're super proud of, you like your truck, Silver Warrior. I want to take and video it. I want to fly to your town, video it, document it. And at the end of it, I would like to drive it or Danny drive it and just give our impressions of it. Do we feel like the things you've done enhanced the vehicle, or do we feel like I might not have went down that road? So that is definitely the things we are looking for that. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Mercedes. Dude, $3 again, man. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. And guys, did you see the new background tonight? I haven't seen anybody comment on it. I thought for sure people would comment on this new background. Let's see. Any more questions? Because this is an hour and 19. This is Luke was such a good conversation once y'all could hear him. Let's see. Third row for kids. Yeah, Joe Taylor is talking about the 2021 Rogue this fall. I think the Rogue is going to be dude, I like the styling of it. And I've seen people kind of, it's just, oh, there's a little mini Dave and Danny. I think that the 2021 Rogue is going to take the Rogue back to where it was as leading in that class. The Platinum editions that we've seen are amazing. Like, now, granted, they will have a SV model. But I'm super pumped about that. Let's see. Pathfinder. Joe Taylor is saying Pathfinder 2021 spring or summer. I think, and I said this in the video. So June was all about Rogue. July's been all about Aria. And I think August is going to be about Pathfinder. Now, granted, till we see these vehicles, I cannot say when we'll see these. I do believe that, I know plant shutdown goes on end of August here in Smyrna, Tennessee. And that's usually I don't have word on this, but I think they're in trials right now for the Rogue. So there'll be a couple versions of PT trials, and then they will get cranking them out. And so I think by 1st of November, they'll be cranking those out. And by the end of December, you'll start seeing the 2021 Rogues. And then Smyrna, Tennessee makes the Pathfinder as well. It'll be on the truck line, which is the same line that Rogue is built on. They'll get that going, and then I think they'll go through trials November, and I think it would be till January that we see a new Pathfinder, maybe early February hitting the lots of that. Now Aria, which is last month's, or I guess this current month's SUV of choice for Nissan, we're not scheduled for that thing till next fall, which I know Nissan needed to build some excitement on that, but it seems like Bronco kind of stole all their excitement, and it is what it is. Let's see. Any more question, guys? I want to get to everybody. If you do have a question, Dave is mini Groot. Yeah, so I did that picture, and I sent it to Danny, and I was a little nervous about sending it because his son's on his back, and I was like, Danny, don't be mad at me now. But I was having some fun with Photoshop, and dude, Danny thought that was hilarious. And he was like, we have to put that on the show ASAP. But I am working on something else. I'm going to try to keep changing those out every once in a while to kind of entice you guys for the super chats, which, once again, I do appreciate. So let's see. Any more questions? Scotty says the Pathfinder will be a game changer. Scotty says everything's a game changer. And then you watch his videos, and Scotty just trashes the brand. Once again, I took a lot of heat from my last Scotty video. People are like, you're just jealous. And I'm like, I'm not jealous at all. I even said it in my video. A man that can make a lot of money on YouTube or doing what he loves is passionate about cars. And Scotty is passionate about cars. More power to him, man. You go get your money. You make your money, and I'll worry about my money. But Scotty is just like a clickbait monster, man. He's learned that art real quick, man. And you'll see some of my thumbnails coming up where I kind of poke at Scotty a little bit with some of his poses. Yes, no, we all need to subscribe to Scotty so he can hit 4 million subs. And by the way, he advertised on YouTube to get a lot of those. And when you do that, they will not allow you to monetize that video. So just leave that at that one. Let's see. But yeah, man, I'm all down for coming. Nice, man. So we'll talk once we get this kind of COVID-y thing kind of more settled, we're definitely, me and Danny have a plan. Also, once again, if you haven't yet, go to All Terrain Nation here on YouTube. There's I have 2 Instagrams right now because I was having trouble changing the name of one of my older accounts, and so I created 2. But if you go to All Space Terrain Space Nation on Instagram, we're there. And there's a Facebook group too. It's where me and Danny are going to take on all trucks and SUVs. I know my buddy Tim there. He has just a blast doing that. So we are planning to do our version of that. So, and to do these live streams, which I would like to take over that way. Obviously, we'll still do these, but I need 100 subs. So I last checked, I was at 42 subs. So I'd like to by next month being able to start doing some live streaming over there. Kelly, thank you everybody. Joe Taylor, I know you subbed to that. Let's see, any other questions? You disagree, I don't think August. Joe, you may be right. I don't have any solid information on that currently, but let's see, any new model reviews planned in the future. If I could get anything from Nissan right now, if I was a little bit bigger YouTube channel, they would be all over me, allowing me to have some access to stuff. I just need to continue to grow. They've given me some stuff, and they're selective about it. And right now with the COVID, like, there's still a ton of people not even getting to work at Nissan HQ right now. So it's just a mess. So right now they're only giving out to markets that they have kind of bases at, like Denver, LA, the New York area. Those are kind of the key markets right now that they're letting press fleets kind of be at. And oh yes, go to Civil Warriors YouTube, guys. I do not mind promoting your channels at all. So you guys are always so kind to me, and I do appreciate it. So last questions. Anything? Let's see. Joe Taylor, I think 2021's Maxima's 40th anniversary, which could be its last. 2021 Titan. Then Frontier, Pathfinder, and Z before the end of the year. Z is going to be a 2022. I can tell you that right now. It's not a 2021. Let's see. All right. Tumblers. Have we discussed tumblers? I don't know. I'll look into that if you want some tumblers. Let's see. Once again, hats. You just said it, Flytrap. All Terrain Nation. That is it. You can find me there. You'll see a Bronco on the profile picture, and I don't remember what I have on the top, but there's about 42 subs. Let's see. Anything? Will Maxima be electric? I think that's the goal for Maxima. I think it doesn't fit a market right now. So you take the Aria platform, you put it in car form, and you've got a hit. All right, guys. So let's see. My glass is almost empty. Now it is empty. Let's see. Oh, the drinking glasses. The guy that was working with me on that could not get me an affordable glass. He wanted me to sell them for about $20 a glass, and there's just no way. I'm just not. I can imagine broken glasses by the time they get to you guys, and you've spent $20 some, and then I got to replace that. So from all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to wherever you've been watching us around the globe, next week we've got Danny coming back, so be ready for that. And I know Danny's got some stuff on his truck. If you haven't yet, go to the Group X. Danny is like 200 hours away from being monetized on his channel, and thanks to the kindness of you guys, you've gotten him that far. So anyways, Joe Taylor, what are we, Joe? I'm going to let you have this one, man. Ding, 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 ding. What are we, guys? Y'all are still going on the tumblers. We are out, guys. Peace, everybody. New video Tuesday where we take on Nissan concept vehicles. So you're going to want to watch that one. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.